What is up, gamers? This is Simpy Snake, and welcome to Simpy Stories with Simpy Snake. And with today's episode, we're going to start off with something big, because it's going to be a really long one. And what we will be talking about is my Year 12 experience, my final year of school, and how it was pretty bad, in my opinion. But anyways, let's go. So this is going to be a really long one. Year 12 is the final year of school, and for many people, it's a make or break year. Some people would say that Year 12 is one of the best years you will ever have. Well, I find that to be 100% bullshit, because Year 12 was one of the worst years of my life. There was a lot of shit that went wrong, and it nearly ruined me. The worst part about it all is that it could have been a decent year. Doing a lot of fun stuff to relieve ourselves from the shit ton of work had sounded great from previous Year 12 students. Events such as Halfway Day Bowling, Battle of the Bands, and even big events such as Markup Day and even Valedictory Dinner were considered to be, by many, as the highlights of that year. But you know what, we'll get to those later on because that's too soon. So fasten up your seatbelts because we're going to talk about my Year 12 experience. Our story begins at the end of Year 11, in which you all know was possibly one of the best years I've had ever. And it wasn't just academically, but it was also where I had to deal with less bullshit and less negativity. Anyways, so we had just finished our final exams for that year, and we were ready for the grand finale of the school year. Orientation Day, or as the teachers would like to call it, Induction Day. The day where you meet all your new teachers and know which homerooms and classes you're in for that year. But the reason we were all so excited for this was because we were going to have access to the Year 12 Dream Haven, the common room. A room where you can chill out, do homework, make food, you name it. Now after the first class of the day, we had an assembly where the coordinator at the time, as well as teachers, held a presentation about us nearly making it to the end. And the only thing I remembered was a clip from Cool Runnings where the bobsled went off the rails but made it to the end regardless. That moment basically set the mood for the whole year because right after that video, they announced the news that pretty much shocked both us and the upcoming Year 11 students at the time. But wait, why did I say Year 11s? Well, they thought it was a good idea to mix the Year 11s and Year 12s together in the school sport house groups. But that's not all. They also announced that the Year 11s would share a common room space. That sounds like a recipe for disaster because 1, the Year 11s at the time were a bigger cohort than us, and 2, it would have been very cramped. And the worst part, our dream of having our private space had been stripped away from us and that we won't be all together for our final year. Right after homeroom, the news had so much of a backlash, one of my friends made a petition the second he left the class. Now I signed it, along with a large number of my classmates. We broke the news to the canteen lady, who was my best friend's mum, and always had our back whenever something controversial happens at school. Turns out, she got pissed and immediately sided with us. The whole uproar was similar to the Year 12 jacket debate a few months prior, but whereas that had gotten a warmer reception ever since, this was a serious issue. Not only that, but my best friend also bought his Nintendo Switch just for when we got the common room. But because of the whole situation, that didn't happen. So we spent 4th period in the library playing Mario Kart. Smash Brothers didn't come out until about 2 weeks later, and that was undoubtedly the best part of the day. The classes were forgettable because of all of the outrage, and we were uncertain of how that would start our final year. The crazy part of all this, most of the Year 11s actually sided with us because they knew we needed less stress, and I also really liked that year level in particular. Anyways, so a week has passed since the controversial Induction Day, and I was still a little bummed out over it. I remember being on the urge of dropping out because I didn't want to put up with any more bullshit. So I was at home playing Smash Bros. Melee when suddenly I got a text from one of my friends saying that one person organised a meeting with the principal to discuss the situation. It also stated that we needed to get as much people as possible to support it. And exactly 1 day later, I created a group chat in Snapchat and invited everyone and named the chat #Year 12 Not Seniors. We actually had some really good claims to get the principal to understand. And not only that, but also another person created an Instagram account with the name for the purpose of live streaming the event for people who couldn't make it to the meeting. The day had finally come, and a few of us had made it to the meeting. There was a problem though. One friend had their Uber be delayed, and with me being the only one that had their license at the time, I knew this was an important mission. It benefited very well considering that this was the first time I had a passenger, as we were both on time. And after that, it was time for the meeting. And how did the meeting go? It didn't work. Even though they liked and understood our points, they decided that the change would benefit us since we could help the Year 11s. I mean, it sounded okay, but in reality, it would have put too much stress on us already struggling to keep up with the workload. And right after that meeting, like on induction day, it was met with more backlash. I remember people were frustrated, especially on the live stream, where someone said they had to get them back. But at the end of the day, it was what it was, and that we had to find a way to adapt to it. And so, after a really good and well-deserved summer break, it was time to actually begin the final year of school. And how did it go? Well, for me, I'd say it was a pretty start. I found out that the school announced some significant changes to the uniform policy. One of those changes was, if you got a UV, uniform violation, you would now get an instant detention. No chances, just on the spot. I was like, what the f***? They were turning the school into a prison. Are they for real? And this is coming from someone that almost never got a UV. It frustrated everyone and pretty much added to even more stress with the school now focused on uniforms than actual education, just like every other Australian school. And that, people, was just the tip of the iceberg.